you're looking to install WordPress using Docker Compose and you've been over to the WordPress Docker official image page and seen all of this and you're like, what do I do? Well, the most important part of this is these environment variables that you need to provide. This WordPress DB host, DB user, DB password, and DB name, DB table prefix. The others you can pretty much ignore. So um, how can you basically do this? You can run this one command, but you're going to need a database in the background. All right, so let's just look at how we can get this done. We have this DB1 service here with inside of this development.yaml, and this is going to run a MariaDB with the user, password, root password, database, and so on. So we've got this up and running already, and all of this data is inside of the env.file, which is going to be loaded into memory when we run this Docker Compose file. And we're saying what port we're going to run it in as well. We're adding a volume for it and also a network. So the next thing that we want to have is basically a WordPress image on here as well. And here we can come over and see that we've got the WordPress image here already. And we can just use then the latest one. For this, we want to define the ports that it talks to, and we're going to say 8080, and I'm assuming that it's going to run with 80, which it is anyway. So let's just say 80 here, right? We could then put this as a environment variable in here, so we could say then WP port, and inside of here, we could copy this and then say WP ports, which is then going to be 8080. All right, so we've at least abstracted that a little bit. The next thing we want to do is add it to the networks, because obviously we want to be able to talk with the database itself too. All right, so we budge that one over. And the next thing it is going to need is these environment variables that we just previously talked about. So we can come over and take these and place them in. And we'll just say environment here. And we can do it in two ways. You can do this dash, or you can do it within the keys. And we can see here that we got the DB host. Well, this is going to be a DB1. All right, so we're going to be talking directly to this one database. We're also going to need to depends on here, and we're going to say it depends on DB1 too. So we want to know that the database is up and running before WordPress gets up and running. Some other people say you shouldn't do it like this, but hey, I don't really care. So the next thing is we want to be able to add the user, so we can cut and paste this, and we can take then the password to it as well, and the DB name to the database here is then the MySQL user. Let's change that because it's not very clear. Let's say let's actually come here and say WP database here. Database name is equal to database name here. All right, well, and come in here like that. All right, so even though we've defined it twice, we know that they are the same thing anyway. Okay, so we've now done that. We don't care about the volumes for the time being. Yeah, we're happy with that basically. So now, okay, so now that we've got everything configured in our Docker YAML file, now it's time to actually start getting this all running. So we can just say docker compose -f to say the name of the file is then development.yaml, and we can say up -d for everything to run in the background. But just to show you the first time that there's things that the database is going to need to do. You can see here that everything is still running, being created. And once you see that the database has been created, we keep looking through this, shutdown completes. It will take a second until it should come. Removed here, started, created, there we go, created database. So everything was up and running there. We can now come over to Chrome, and we'll say localhost 8080. And this is the installation page. If you don't see this and you see an error, it's probably because the database hasn't been configured correctly. And we'll just come in here and we'll just say tester, and the username will say admin, and the password will say 123456. No problem. confirm use of weak password, and admin@example.com. And just to make sure we're all good, yes, yes, yes. And we do this. We can now log in and say admin 12345 6. Happy days. And there you are. WordPress is now installed. All right. So this is basically how you get it up and running. The what you now do with the site is your thing. But I just wanted to show you how you can get this up and running easily with Docker. Now, if you want to start configuring the files, let's just come back over to here. You can see that we need this WP config, all right, to be able to access it. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Let's just say Docker PS, all right, and what you want to do is you want to come in WordPress. Let's just say Docker PS execute IT, and we'll say bash, and we can see that the files are here, and this is the file that we need, all right. And right now we don't care about any other files, so you can see that we need var here. So let's just do this. This is basically what we need. I don't really need to copy it, but we come back out again, and we can come here. Let's just stop. Let's say Docker compose. We come back here, and we'll just let it stop everything. All right. We should still have volume. The volume MariaDB is still up because we haven't deleted it. Okay, so that's no problem. This one we can. This one is then from the WordPress one, right? Because we haven't told it to delete. So what we want to do is we want to have a WordPress. Let's just say a WordPress. Whoops, a WordPress folder here. WordPress folder here, and that was not a folder. That was a file. A WordPress folder here. And what we can do now is we can we want to start these again. So Docker compose F and development here, and then up dash D. We're going to let it in the background this time, and now we can take this YouTube WP. And let's move this over, because what we want to do is copy this wp.config or -config.php to the local files, right? So we're going to say docker cp is for copy, and we're going to say which container we want to copy from. We want to say var http html wp config, sorry, and this is then .php, and we're going to copy this to WordPress and wp config.php there, and now we've got this copied over. So now we have this one file that we can use, right? Which means that we can see here that we've got get env from Docker, the all of the information that we've got with these default information too. So if you don't want to use this env file, you can use this wp config or also, but you can also add some other configurations to this too. So this is something that you really want to do. So we can now stop all of our Docker compose, all our files, just to rerun it, and -F, and then down, and we're going to say, we're not going to say -V, right? But we're just going to say down here. That's going to stop everything. And this time now we can come to our WordPress here, and we can say volumes, right? And in here we can now say WordPress wp config.php is going to come and replace the wp config.php here. All right. So let's just place some David's changed this here. All right. And yeah, so that when we come and rerun this and start it all again, down, up, -D, happy days. We started this all again. Let's just do docker ps. Let's make sure that everything is working still, and it is. You see, so we haven't changed anything. But what we can do now is say docker execute dash it, and then come and get this again, and then come in here. Now we can cat out um, the wp config.php, and you can see here when we scroll to the top, you can see David changed this here. Okay, so we've now able to configure the WP config if there are any settings that you need to update. And when we come back over to the page, you can see that we can set WordPress debug. But if you look at in the documentation to WordPress, there are a lot of things that you can add or remove and change with inside of that WP config. With that said, I think I'm going to leave it here because we could just continue on with a whole bunch of stuff. You don't need to save all of this WordPress. You don't need to save all of this data to your one project. You only need to extract the specific files, and that's all. And you could place any of the other WP content or whatever inside of here and only map the data that you actually want to change instead, because just let WordPress handle that data. Don't save it to version control or whatever. Right. With that said, if you did get something out this one video, if it helped you to understand how to get WordPress up and running with Docker Compose, the documentation is already pretty clear, but sometimes, yeah, you could just copy and paste this. That's it. But I always find it's better to understand how to do it than just to be able to copy and paste and get it up and running. Yeah, if you got something out of this content, then don't forget to like. Remember that I do lots of different types of content on my YouTube channel, ranging from Brazil videos, living in Germany, programming, flying my drone, and lots of other stuff. So if this is the type of thing that you want to see all the time, then think about subscribing. Otherwise, just give it a like. If you've got any questions, feedback, concerns, let's start a conversation in the comment section down below. Other than that, if you think that someone else might find this content useful, then think about sharing it. You're already doing the thing that I want you to do, is watch all the way through to the end. With that said, thank you very much for watching. My name's David Dawn. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.